Well, welcome back. So it's that time of year when I have students doing projects in the AWS Learner Lab, and we're seeing challenges like we always do. Now, a lot of those, in fact, almost, I would probably say all of them, are usually tied to something the student doesn't realize they've done incorrectly. So, one of the things that we see often is if a student creates an S3 bucket, and it's open for public reads and open for public writes. Hackers like to use those to exfiltrate data from places that they've hacked. So a hacker has access to a company that they've compromised, and they want data from it. But they can't just send it to them because usually they're being watched or they're in a weird place, and it would throw up red flags. So they send it to AWS, to your S3 bucket, because it's open for writes. And then they probably bounce it to another S3 bucket or another. And they do that a couple times and then to a couple other places so they can try and hide who they are. So they can get the data, and eventually they download it to themselves. Okay. So they do stuff like that with EC2 instances as well. If you leave something too open, they take control of your EC2 instance, and they might just use that to exfiltrate data. They might use it to attack. So just be mindful. A lot of the problems that I see students have are because they don't understand the security enough, and they have things too open, and they're not practicing least privilege. And the Learner Lab kind of doesn't let us because we can't do IAM that well. So one of the other things is there are things here that talk about if you exceed, so for example, your budget. If you exceed your budget, your account will be disabled and your progress and resources will be lost. Okay. So I just searched for account. This is in the Learner Lab stuff. Here's another one. This is how to reset. Cool. That one's not a big deal. That's programmatically right here. The following services can be used. Specific limitations are documented. Any attempt to exceed the service limit may result in immediate deactivation, and the AWS account and resources in the account may be immediately deleted. So I have a lot of students that are trying to use things that might not be listed here, and they might on occasion trigger this. So just be mindful of that. So let's look at the next one. Caution. If you have 20 or more concurrent running EC2 instances, that's another one where your AWS account and all resources in the account will be immediately deleted. Okay. So another one. To preserve your lab budget, stop your EC2 instances, and be aware of the instances that you keep in your account between sections, because, that's not true. What is this one? Oh, it's just Compute Cloud. They're right here. So it just says be aware of the instances in your account between sessions because they run and cut into your budget. That's not true. They shut them down. Now they still use storage, but it's not a lot. So they stop things automatically for you. So I'm confused as to why they're saying this. In fact, I've tried to get around this by starting them with things like Lambda that does run. It doesn't work. That's maybe one of those things that they would delete your account for if it worked. When creating a cluster, so that doesn't look like that causes any problems. Let's come down to the next one. Just talks about to preserve your lab budget, stop your RDS instances when you're done using them for the day. So RDS, I'm pretty sure does shut down when you end your lab automatically. In fact, when the lab session ends, the lab environment may not stop. You leave running. So I guess they're saying it just may not. So be mindful that it doesn't always work. It doesn't always shut them down. Maybe there's something that causes it to not be able to shut down. So that's probably why they're referring to those. Okay, that one's not. Coming down here to another one. Let's see, that's not. That one's not. Cool. That one's not. This one's just saying be careful that some things can use a significant amount of your budget. And then going back to the budget one, that can stop your account. So that's just looking for account. There's also, I think, deactivate. Yeah, but that's with the AWS account. So I think we've covered the main things that I can see really easily because, yeah, AWS account. So, so a few things. Oh, there's another one in there. CPUs. Yeah, you have a maximum of 32 virtual CPUs that you can use. If you exceed that, oh, it looks like they don't have a thing saying that they'll terminate it. So, anyway, so there's a certain number of CPUs you can use. You can, if you somehow spin up 20 EC2 instances, you have 20, it's going to deactivate your account. If you try and get around things, deactivate your account. So just be mindful. Just be mindful. I think a lot of the ones I see though, there's weird traffic and it gets flagged and locked down. And a lot of those are hackers. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Covered the AWS Academy Learner Lab, some of the things that can get you kicked out of it, and then talked about how hackers like to use resources. We'll see you in the next video.